here on the Cover 3 podcast, live on CBS Sports Network, as we continue our preview for some of the biggest games in the Big Ten coming up in Week 1. Let's turn our spotlight to the Night Owls. That's right, 11 p.m. Eastern Time kickoff, 8 local, as we've got a Pac-12 rivalry renewed. Utah down in the Rose Bowl to take on UCLA. It's year 2 for Deshaun Foster with the Bruins, but year 1 with Nico at quarterback. Before we get to the Nico of it all and the quarterback battle, Bud, on the Cover 3 podcast, you've been keeping us apprised of a lot of the UCLA eligibility, injury watch, status updates. So I'll let you get first word here before we dive into the quarterback battle. Now, what is the latest and what should people know about UCLA and its efforts to be as healthy and eligible as possible for Week 1?
Yeah, Chip. So I think if you're looking to maybe place a wager on this one, or at least figure out like how late into the night you want to watch this, UCLA's receivers, several of them have been dinged up lately. Kind of want to watch pregame warmups. Maybe stay tuned to Twitter or the pregame coverage or whatever your preferred method there is. Figure out those guys are going to play. But UCLA made major upgrades in the offseason on offense, but they do need these receivers healthy to play. Otherwise, this could be over quickly.
All right, now let's take it to the quarterback side of this, which is DK. We got to go to you. Nico takes over as the leader of this Bruins offense. He's also got Tino Sunseri as the new offensive coordinator there. So, DK, what are your expectations for Nico here in Week 1 against a Utah defense that we do expect to be one of the more challenging units to face there in the Big 12?
Yeah, for sure. And I think the one thing that they would love to give Nico is a run game. They were 132nd in the country in rushing last year, which is pretty astounding considering their coach is a former running back. You think they would have run the ball a little bit better. And I'm excited to see what Tino Sunseri brings to the table. I thought he did a masterful job at Indiana, scheming guys open, getting guys open, easier throws for a quarterback. But I think you'll see a version of Nico that was similar to what we saw last year. I think you'll see flashes of brilliance. He's got the capability to do that. He can make plays with his legs as well if he needs to, if he does get in trouble. So I would expect Nico to come out with a pretty strong performance in Week 1. And I think it's a clear upgrade from what they've been working with, because last year they did not get great quarterback play. I don't think it was going to get much better with Joey Aguilar. So I think they're really excited about Nico and what they're trying to build around him.
Bud's eyes just got so big. I mean, Bud, I got to get you to elaborate here on the upgrade that we're seeing from the Bruins. What do you think that will be in place? What do you think that offense is going to look like?
I mean, outside of Nebraska, did anybody else in the country upgrade their offensive coordinator position more than UCLA? I don't really think so. That was not a real serious operation last year, in my opinion. And I think they've upgraded in a major way. They brought in several transfers in the offensive line. We'll see how those guys play. Some of them are backups at other schools, but who knows? Change of scenery, maybe a new spot. Defensively, I'm a little bit worried about some of the pass rush stuff here. Obviously, we see the graphic on screen here showing how much talent UCLA has to replace every starter in the secondary. And Utah will be a major challenge, guys. Utah has one of the best offensive lines in the country. They have a system, I think, that is really easy to install quickly. They took a lot of key transfers there. And Utah was my pick to win the Big 12 this year, despite having a terrible season last year, mostly due to quarterback injury. So UCLA, I think, will be way improved on offense. I hope that they didn't miss their window of having a good defense, because last year, their defense was actually kind of salty and played really hard for Coach Foster.
All right, let's look at the Utah side of this. Bud, you first. We've got Devin Dampierre. We've got Jason Beck. We've got another situation similar to what we have at Oklahoma, where you've got a quarterback, but you're also taking the coordinator. So what do you think it's going to look like now that Utah has, as far as we know right now, a healthier quarterback situation than they've had in probably 3 years?
Yeah, so if you look at kind of what Virginia did during that COVID year when they were putting the points up on everybody, that's kind of what I think you're going to expect to see out of this offense. Maybe a little bit less passing than Brennan Armstrong did with Virginia, but Dampierre can chuck it around a little bit. He also can run around quite well. A lot of misdirection, a lot of motion. I think Jason Beck is a tremendous offensive coordinator hire for Utah. Wayshawn Parker, the running back transfer they took from Washington State, is an excellent player. I had him on my fantasy team last year when I won our league. So, I really enjoyed watching him score all those touchdowns for Wazoo. My one question with this Utah offense is I'm not really sure that they're anything special at receiver. I get all the pre-draft lists, and I'm not really seeing anybody who makes a real difference there at receiver for Utah. But if the run game is as good as I think it might be, plus Dampier's legs added in, plus Wayshawn Parker, you're going to get a lot of one-on-one matchups for these receivers to exploit, especially with the help of Jason Beck's play calling.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, that's why they went and tackled the Porter. They've got 3 transfer wide receivers penciled in to start for the Utes. Dampier's very interesting because he is a dynamic player. I mean, the thing that jumps out to you is, yes, he was pretty solid throwing the football, had some yards, but being an 1,100-yard rusher with the football does make him a difference maker. And I think they're going to lean on his legs a lot. The one thing to be cautious of, and I'm sure that Beck has talked to him about it, was the touchdown to interception ratio. 12-12 is not something that jumps out to you in any way impressive for him. In fact, it would make you concerned. He's got to be careful with the football because I think Utah, I think this is exactly what Kyle Whittingham would want, is a quarterback who can extend drives with his legs, but the one thing he does not want to see is a quarterback who turns the ball over. So just something to keep an eye on, but I think it'll help that he has a better defense and better players around him. You mentioned the running back room. It's deep with portal players as well, but I do think they're going to really try to establish the run game around Dampier's legs.
Yeah, Utah fans are probably telling themselves that those interceptions happened because New Mexico was having to overcome a bad defense, right? You know, there was a lot of force it. There was a lot of YOLO that was sort of the pressure of the moment. You don't have to worry about that when you've got that Utah defense on the other side. So hopefully the decision-making, if you're a Utah fan, is what you're looking for. All right, one last thing here before we hit a break and jump into the Nebraska-Cincinnati showdown, which is one of the best games that we're going to get on Thursday night. What, Danny, defines success for Deshaun Foster in year 2? They've got a win total of 5.5. But as you think about what we saw last year and what they've got in place, what does a UCLA fan want to see from on the field this season from Deshaun Foster's squad?
I think they want to see a more consistent team, a team that is more competitive in most of their games this season. I think they want to see a team that goes bowling. Like, I think that's a step in the right direction to go over that win total and to avoid games like they had at home last year against Indiana, which was one of the first games out of the gate, but Indiana went in there and absolutely stomped them. So you want to win the games you're supposed to and maybe sneak up and win a couple ones that you're not supposed to. And the schedule is manageable early. And that's why this game, I think, is so huge for UCLA. You know, playing at home, it's an opportunity for them to start 1-0. Then they've got 3 very winnable games. So if they could somehow pull off the upset here, I think it would be huge and it would be a step in the right direction. But I also thought this locker room, which Deshaun Foster could have lost last year, they got better as the season wore on and they got used to him. We saw the exodus of players as well. Maybe there's some players that weren't buying into his philosophy, weren't, really responding to his coaching style. Now they've weeded some of those out, bringing more players in to do it, made a lot of changes on the coaching staff. So I would expect this team to make that step forward. I think UCLA fans would want to see at least a bowl and maybe even 7 wins.
By the way, just got a text. My guy at UCLA does think those guys are going to play. So let's go. Entertaining game. Yeah.
Hey, breaking news on CBS Sports Network.
Let's look, they're just having their coffee over there in the West Coast, right? Noon here, but like 9:30 there. So I think if they play, we have real shootout potential here.
Okay. All right. What about Deshaun Foster year 2? What's sort of your thought on that?
I think if your win total is 5.5, that's pretty manageable. Making a bowl game, I think, would go a long way for this team. More cohesion on offense, a real plan on offense, and I want to see like Deshaun took so much progression last year as a head coach. That opening game against Hawaii was a disaster. I mean, we were on our group chats like, guys, this may not work. And he got so much better as a head coach where I thought he was a real value add as a coach maybe in the latter third of the season. I want to see his team continue to fight really hard for them. And maybe I know the guy is a decent recruiter. Like if you get more product on the field to sell, you can start upgrading the talent up and down that roster.